We have a very big problem in English, which is that sometimes we use words for things that are not necessarily the right words correspond to Arabic. Like hijab, so many times the standard in English is that hijab is what a woman covers her head with. I think that's not hijab. Hijab is everything that covers a woman, including a partition that goes in front of her, and a niqab and a jilbab and gloves, and all of that is hijab. Like in the cover of the head is the khimar. It's called the khimar. But here Allah Azza wa Jal says for them to take their outer garment, the jilbab is the outer garment, and to bring it from the head all the way down to the feet, and not to leave anything out from it, except that which is haja, a haja for them, and the haja for them is one eye or two eyes to be able to see the way. And that is the tafsir of, or the sharh of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. That's what the Sahaba are upon. That the ayah is to draw the outer garment over the entire body from the top of the head to the tip of the toe. Is it any from the previous ayah we understood that she can take her khimar and make it come down over her. So it doesn't matter whether her hijab comes over her chest and it covers her head and her shoulders and her chest, or whether it comes from the head all the way down to the floor, because there are different styles. Like there's one that she can take the jilbab and she can put it over, the jilbab goes over her head. And it seems to me that there's no harm if it's a two-piece. Yani there's no harm if it's a two-piece. And if one piece goes down below the chest and then another piece goes. But wallahi, I do think that the shoulders should be, the shape of the shoulders should be covered. That's no doubt al-ahwat. That's no doubt the safer view. That the shoulders, yani that they should not, you should not be able to see from here where the shoulder comes out. That's al-ahwat. That's safer. So whether that's done by putting the whole jilbab over the head, or whether that's done by putting the khimar over and letting it come down, like, and it shouldn't be such that such like a tight hijab so that the shoulders are visible. Wallahu alam. And that's al-ahwat. That's a safer view, no doubt. And that is more suitable for them to be known. This is the purpose of the hijab. The hijab has two major purposes. One of the major purposes is an yu'rafna, for them to be known as chaste, practicing Muslim women. It sends a signal. It's like a uniform. And subhanAllah, a person, maybe you wouldn't listen to that person if they told you something 100 times. Like in the day they put a police jacket on or police uniform, people suddenly change their behavior towards them. The uniform of a person makes a big difference in what a person wears. Maybe a person comes in their regular thiyab, nobody in the masjid listens to them. The minute he comes in a ghutra, a bisht, and like a cloak and everything, people listen as sheikh. For the point is, what you wear does affect what people think about you. And if you remember, the slave girls were not commanded this. This ayah never came with regard to the slave girls. Rather, Umar prohibited them from this. He prohibited them from wearing the hijab of the free woman, of the woman who is, and this is given so she's known, this is a Muslim woman. You have to give her complete respect. And she is someone who has a high position in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yu'rafna fala yu'dhain. And so that she is not abused. So the hijab is there to stop harm from coming to her. Like here, do we say that if harm comes to a woman because of the hijab, she should stop wearing it? That's not the meaning of the ayah. Don't take it from the ayah. Like some of them said, if harm comes to me, that the hijab is to protect me from harm, but what about if hijab brings harm upon me? This is from the hikam, the wisdom of the hijab. Like we say with regard to, I was speaking to a brother, it's very important, with regard to leaving sin. It's not about whether you personally feel good about it or not, or whether you personally like it or not. ما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم. You don't have the choice. So some people say, like, I'll wear hijab when I'm ready. I'll wear hijab when I feel comfortable and ready to worship my Lord by wearing it. Yeah, there's two aspects to the hijab. One is your worship of Allah, and one is stopping haram from happening in the society. That stopping haram from happening in the society does not require you to be feeling the goodness of it, or it's enough for you that you know that Allah required it. Khalas. Leaving the haram is not like it's a separate issue completely. So the harm that happens in the society is not just harm from men. It's also the sin. فَلَا يُذَيْنَ, that she's not harmed by this, that the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal coming upon her. There is a hadith. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, خَيْرُ نِسَائِكُمْ الْوَدُودُ الْوَلُودُ الْمُوَاتِيَةُ الْمُوَاسِيَةُ إِذَا اتَّقَيْنَ اللَّهَ وشر نسائكم المتبرجات المتخيلات هن المنافقات لا يدخل الجنة منهن إلا مثل الغراب الأعصم. The hadith is a very, very, it's a hadith that it's very, very scary. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best of your women are al-wadud al-walud. In the woman who is loving and will bear you many children. He said, al-muwatiyah, the one who obeys her husband, al-muwasiyah, the one who she's obedient and considerate of her husband, if she has taqwa of Allah. And the worst of your women are the ones who do not cover. شَرُّ نِسَائِكُمْ الْمُتَبَرِّجَاتِ. The worst of your women are those who do not cover. الْمُتَخَيِّلَاتِ. Those people who have pride. For example, their appearance means more to them than obeying Allah. The Prophet said, they are the munafiqat, they are the hypocrites. They will not enter Jannah except like a red crow. How many times have you seen a red crow? I've never seen a red crow. And they will not enter Jannah except like the red crow. The rarest of the rare. Amr khatir jiddan. The matter is not light. It's not like, oh, it's something, you can work on it tomorrow, sister, and inshallah khair, don't worry about it. Iman is in your heart. And la wallah, it doesn't work like that. Hunna al-munafiqat. The matter is very, very serious. I want the sisters to understand. I want you that nobody lies to you. So that nobody comes and says, Muhammad, Tim, you lied to us. You told us that it doesn't matter as long as you're trying to worship Allah and as long as you're getting close to Allah. It's okay. You can work on the hijab later on. It's not like that, wallahi. It's very, very serious. And that indicates it's a kabira min kaba'ir dhunub. And we don't say she'll be in Jahannam forever, because the Muslim will not be in Jahannam forever. And we don't say she left Islam. Like, the matter is for the Prophet ﷺ to describe her as a munafiqah. She's a hypocrite. Because of what? She doesn't wear the hijab and she takes pride in her appearance rather than obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. She will not enter Jannah except like the red crow. The matter is not easy at all. So it's more like, look, it is not an easy thing to wear the hijab. وَأَنَا وَاللَّهِ, I do not know if Allah Azza wa Jal put that condition upon men. I do not know how many of the men would be able to fulfill that condition. Wallahi, the matter is not easy. Wallahi, it's not, and we're not saying it's an easy thing, and we're not saying that it's something that is, and it's just anybody can do it, and why don't you do it? And it's tough, wallahi, especially in this day and age. SubhanAllah, it used to be a symbol of Izza, a symbol of a good woman. Hatta wallahi, even the Nasara, if a woman was a princess among the Christians or a woman of very high social status, she wore niqab. The Yahud, wallahi, I say to them, you know, ya ma'shar al-Yahud, don't lie. You know exactly that the niqab is obligatory upon you in your scripture. فوالله إني لا أشهد يعني I أشهد الله سبحانه وتعالى وأقسم بالله that they know that the niqab is obligatory upon their women. Like in the rabbis deleted it from the text and took it out and changed the meaning of it and distorted the meaning of it. Otherwise, they know that the hijab and niqab is obligatory upon their women. And the Christians used to have it that the woman of respect and dignity among them كانت متنقبة. She would cover her face. At minimum, she would cover her head and her body with a jilbab. People have sins they're struggling with. And people need to take it really, really seriously. And I say the same thing to the sisters who are wearing hijab in a, half in, half out kind of way. The hijab is there, but there's makeup, there's adornment, there's a beautiful hijab, a beautiful jilbab, there's an effort to adorn yourself. But the sad thing is they have a share of that hadith. Because that is a type of tabarruj, right? It's exactly the tabarruj. وَلَا تَبَرُّجْنَا تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. Don't go out the way that the people used to go out in the time before Islam. They have a share of it. I'm not saying it's the main hadith is with regard to the woman that doesn't wear the hijab at all. Hatta the one who wears the hijab with makeup, with adornment, in a way that is beautiful, she has a share of it. But the matter is not easy, wallahi. We have to go back to what Allah Azza wa Jal commanded us, and it's not for any man or any woman to make a decision against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded. For Ajib, Umar used to pray for the hijab to come down. Umar used to want for the women to wear hijab in his fitrah. And the Muslim women took it as a matter of pride, a symbol of iman, a symbol of nearness to Allah, that this hijab was revealed. But it's really, really sad that we got to the point where we're trying to avoid it with every way possible. And many don't wear it at all. And then the ones who wear it, many of them wear it with adornment, any tabarruj, or they don't wear it the way that it's described in the Quran. But they're not going to get the benefit of it. And for them to be known as righteous Muslim women, and for them not to be harmed. And don't get me wrong, wallahi, the non-Muslims, they wish day in, day out that the hijab would not be applied by Muslim women. And I have no doubt that is not a conspiracy theory, that's the truth. That they would wish that every Muslim woman would take off a hijab. That's what they want, because they want أن تشيع الفاحشة يعني في الذين آمنوا. They want for fahisha to spread among the people who believe. And that's why there's something to bear in mind. When COVID came, if you remember, just before COVID, there were a number of countries that were putting pressure on women with regard to the niqab and banning the niqab from various places. And then what did Allah Azza wa Jal punish them with? يعني أنزل عليهم نقابا للرجال والنساء. And He put a niqab on them, the men and the women. And for 2 years, the men and the women wore a niqab religiously. That's the reality. That's what happened. They stopped the niqab, and Allah sent upon them a niqab that they couldn't take it off. There's no doubt the disbelievers want for the Muslim women to remove their hijab and lighten their hijab. They want to see, adorned hijabs and makeup, and that's what they want to see. That's why if you see even the so-called hijabi that they put in their pictures and their advertisements, she's not mutahajjiba, she's mutabarrija. Maybe the only thing she has on is a hijab and makeup and all of the rest. They don't want for our Muslim women to have that honor that Allah Azza wa Jal gave them. And they don't want harm to be kept away from them, like Allah Azza wa Jal legislated it for it. So people really, they have to think about it now.